Hey guys, welcome to Hip Hughes History. We're going to take some time out today to kind of talk a little bit about good teaching and maybe give advice to some teachers out there, or maybe to some students about some of the learning strategies that I kind of think will work really well. My Italian accent comes in every once in a while. So step back,
9 minutes.
That's all. We're going to go over some strategies and some advice of how you can be an excellent facilitator of learning experiences. Number one, engagement. Kids are not engaged. They don't want to be in school. So you have to think of yourself as a teacher, and I really prefer facilitator of learning experiences, as somebody whose number one job is to capture your students' attention, to get that attention and to engage it. Because I don't care what you want to complain about. When I was a kid, kids were, they were engaged. They had to be. Their parents would. It doesn't matter, all right? If you're a car salesperson, right? Basically, in a teaching analogy, you have customers who don't want to be there, and you still got to sell them a car. So get your kids engaged. I have a slogan in my classroom: where attention goes, energy flows. Because if you don't have their attention, it's like trying to get someone to swim who doesn't like going in the water. It ain't going to work out well. So we'll talk about how to get kids engaged next. One of my favorite words in the English language is multimodality. And we can go into yada, 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 fancy philosophical terms, Gunther Kress and G and all these good things. But basically what multimodality means is there's more to life than just textual-based stuff. Literacy, right? Traditional literacy is really important, right? It's aligned to curriculum. It's in standards. Kids need to learn how to read and to write and to do it well. But we have so many other modes of meaning that are surrounding us to get kids engaged. The walls in our room, make them pop. Put color up there. Put controversial things. Get kids thinking. Put parts of their culture up on the wall. Music. Music is a wonderful way to make a kid forget about the hallway the second they come in. Throw some Ella Fitzgerald, put on some Beethoven, slip in some Public Enemy, and make sure your kids know when they're walking inside your classroom that they're walking inside an experience. And make yourself multimodal. You don't have to be an entertainer, folks, but I think that you do have to engage on a human level with kids. Make eye contact, laugh every once in a while, drop your shoulders back, show kids are real. My father, R.I.P., when I was growing up, he was a Boy Scout leader. And he used to tell me that kids could smell BS 4 miles away. And I disagree with him. They can smell BS galaxies away. So be authentic, be real, be yourself, get them engaged, make them excited to be there, and then you have a chance to do what we haven't talked about yet, which is teach them something. Make sure that you talk in student discourse. Discourse is basically the way that you talk, and I met a lot of teachers who really love their subject matter a little bit too much. And they talk really well in historical terms, or they'll talk really well in mathematical grammar, or really well with literary concepts. But when it comes to talking to kids, they don't know how to talk with kids with their language. And I'm not saying that we need to studentize everything and edutainment everything, but I do think that discourse, analogies and symbols and visuals and ideas that kids understand, because kids are really smart peoples, that they act as bridges. So if you're teaching something, find a way to create that bridge so they can walk from their world to our academic world and have a better shot at understanding it. There's more. Learning happens inside of someone's brain. And teaching somebody something is kind of an invisible art because you really don't know what's going inside somebody's brain. So really, instead of saying teacher, I like that idea of facilitating learning experiences. Because that's all you can do, whether you're giving an explicit lecture and you're telling a story, or you're doing what I'm going to talk about in my next round, which is engaging students in composition. You need students to have an experience inside their brain. And that means using multimodality and using kind of provoking strategies to get that action to go on. And to talk about your kids about this kind of learning philosophy so they understand that you're real and that you're interested in them having a learning experience. And not just standing up there and talking or handing out worksheets because you're wasting everybody's time. Everybody. consumption versus composition. Most of the times that we think about learning, I think that we think about kids. I'm going to start over. Learning isn't consuming, learning is producing. I think a lot of what teachers do is a lot of presentational stuff, and I like that. I really do. I like telling stories. But at the end of the day, only so much learning can really occur. Even if you tell a really good story and the kid remembers it and they consume that piece of information, that doesn't necessarily mean that they understand it at a deep level. So I think that really what we need to do is facilitate that learning experience by engaging students in making things, composing things, and oh, what a wonderful digital world we live in. So if we can use traditional literacy, if you can use research methods, if you can do Common Core standards by having students compare primary resources to contemporary literary terms, to use the internet to write, to script, to do group work, have them do that so they can make something cool. What about designing a cartoon character or creating a digital video, or maybe they make a podcast or build a website or make a robot? If you have them invested in producing something, in composing something that is a new expression of meaning, then that traditional literacy will take care of itself. You'll facilitate that, and they're going to do all the things they have to do on the test, but they're going to be engaged, they're going to create identity, they're going to think in creative, new, divergent ways, and they're going to build some really cool crap for you and them. So I think that that's one of the keys. If we can find out how to get them to compose, and I think there's ways to do it, then we have a reason to lecture. We have a reason to have them write. We have a reason to have them research. We have a reason to have reasons. Just reason it out. It's got reasons. Really simple stuff. Never let a kid call you Mr. or Mrs. It's so disrespectful to the kid. It means that you don't care that they know your name. I mean, what else do we have in this world other than our name? And if you allow kids to do that, you're dismissing them as human beings. And make sure they understand that. And make eye contact with them. And call them by their names. And remember, before you're a teacher or a facilitator, you're just a person. They're just people. Like people meeting people. And I think that kids know that. So talk to them and laugh with them and be real with them and connect with them. And you don't have to be their friend. I got friends. It's not about being a friend. It's about having a human relationship. And if you have a human relationship, you got a chance at teaching them even though they learn inside their brains. Keep learning. If we want our kids to be lifelong learners, that means you have to be a lifelong learner. That means you have to explore new technologies. They got Hughes doing the Pinterest thing. What the heck is that? Yeah. Or find that new research-based strategy or innovative approach another teacher is using to keep pushing yourself, guys. If we were surgeons, I know a lot of surgeons as teachers, and you don't want to be using leeches, right? You don't want to be using leeches. You want to be ahead of the curve. Otherwise, we're not professionals. And if we're not ahead of the curve and we're not treating ourselves as professionals, then the man's going to come in and tell you what to do. All right, giddy up.
That's all, folks.